the rest of the way? Okay.
Yeah.
We're good. Hey guys, welcome to the GRrideshare podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. We're super excited. Again, every 2 weeks we record and live stream. Tonight we have Gabe with us.
Hello, hello.
And Cindy from the Lakeshore.
Hello.
And of course Ben.
I'm here too, but that goes without saying.
Producer Ben. So
I just make things happen.
Yes. Are you calmed down now? I feel like every time we say, oh, 8:30 should be fine, and then you're like, oh no.
And then Twitter credentials and
then the computer didn't work, and etc. So
thanks for bearing with us.
Yes.
Everybody that tuned into the earlier streams that cut out.
Right. So why don't we introduce ourselves? I know Gabe's been on before, but Cindy, why don't you go first? Just kind of how long you've been driving, if you drive for both platforms, what your rating is, those kind of things. We always want to hear the ratings. I don't know why, but.
I have a 4.91, I believe.
Nice.
Uber?
Uh-huh. Okay. Do you drive for Lyft too? Or
yeah, about the same for Lyft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about 4.91 or so. I haven't checked it today or recently, yeah.
So you're full-time, right?
I'm basically full-time.
Okay.
And I've been doing it, it will be 2 years on Saturday.
Okay. How many rides do you have, ballpark? I don't get many Lyft rides. Yeah.
So, on Uber, I have about 1,600 or so, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. XL or X?
X.
X. Okay. All right. What about you, Gabe?
2.5 years. I have about 6,800 rides on Uber. I'm a 4.95.
Okay.
And about 1,800 on Lyft, and I'm a 4.94.
Okay. Yeah, that's about. Well, you're better than me, but. Yeah, it's amazing his rating because he drives a lot of late nights, like after midnights.
That's
so
awesome.
Clearly, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Be nice.
Yeah.
You're really good at that, apparently.
Yeah. So how is the Lakeshore? Have you driven in the winter on the Lakeshore?
Yes.
Okay, and how is that?
Not good.
Not good?
No, not so good. The summer is happening, and we're super busy this summer.
Right.
With tourists and all that. But about mid-September, it starts to slow down.
So do you travel to GR then?
I do.
Okay.
And we still work the Lakeshore, and we still do get rides, like for the Elton John concert.
Okay. From the Lakeshore out to Grand Rapids?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So a lot of the concerts and people going to the airport and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I want to talk about the interview we had. I don't know if you've seen, we interviewed 2 agents from Farmers Insurance, and I just want to reiterate that you guys should listen to that, listeners out there and watchers and viewers or whatever you call them. It was a good interview. It really sparked some conversation. Some people thought it was that I argued with a guy, and I finally stopped arguing with him because I wasn't going to convince him otherwise that the rideshare insurance was a scam, and that he said, well, what happens if you pick up a homeless guy? He's giving me all these scenarios like, what happens? You just tell him that it's your friend, and then you don't get in trouble. I'm like, well, that's insurance fraud.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you're not supposed to be doing it. And I will admit, before they offered the rideshare insurance in Michigan, I drove without that endorsement because I didn't have it.
Right.
Right.
But Jeff Lake from Farmers Insurance is actually in our the Grand Rapids group, and as soon as they said, "Hey, we offer rideshare insurance," I called them up and got switched over, and it's affordable.
I'm aware of him. Yeah.
So, I'm assuming you guys have the rideshare endorsements.
I do through my
Dave?
insurance company.
I don't think my insurance company offers it.
Ooh.
So
What
What
company?
company?
Hanover Citizens.
No.
No. So, but I'm on my last month, so I'm renewing. So that's something we're changing.
You should.
Yeah.
There's
it-
this lady
I just-
named Flo.
Yeah. Well,
But
the
there's
problem
also
was
a
is
Jeffrey Lake.
because of my son, he was on there. So because of having him on, now that he's off, that's what we were waiting for.
Okay.
For switching it. So
Okay. Yeah, so it's State Farm, Progressive, Farmers.
Allstate.
Is it Allstate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh yeah, that Derek got in the group
Yeah.
today. In fact, I had insurance through him at one time, but
And then USAA, like for the
Oh.
armed forces, they offer it as well.
interesting. But anyways, anyone out there that hasn't listened to it, it's not our normal 2-hour podcast, so
yeah.
it's about 50 minutes, so it's good. It has a lot of information on it. So, okay, driving over the last 2 weeks. Anything exciting? We'll talk about your story after we get through all of
Sure.
us. I haven't driven much, I'll be honest. I've been busy doing some Amazon flexing and some out with the wife. And what about you guys?
I had a Chicago trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was it was crazy.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So I got a request at 4:48 in the morning, and I was picking up somebody from downtown, dropping them off, like Wyoming area. And I was like, oh, Cutlerville, all right, I'll go out there. It's a surge. Somebody needs to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Thinking maybe to a factory, work. I pull
Yeah.
up, and there's this huge charter bus in a parking lot, and the guy's just
no.
waving his hands at me, and I'm like,
Oh boy, you're already like red flag.
yeah, I'm like, what is going on? He was like, thank you. And I was just like, okay, what's going on? He goes, well, I've been trying for like 30 minutes to get a driver, and I haven't had any luck. And I was like, all right. So I was like, well, let's go. He starts putting his stuff in the car, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So I hit start because I didn't get a long trip notification. And I'm like, Glenview, Illinois. And I'm like, oh. Well, I luckily had slept 9 hours. I got up at midnight, had slept for 9 hours, and I was good to go.
Yeah.
But we got there 6 miles before his stop. All of a sudden, my app makes a noise. His app makes a noise.
Yeah. And you're like,
And I'm like,
well, what kind of noise was it?
It was just like a bing. Like,
Not like the normal ping that.
right, when they
sounded.
cancel or anything.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
nothing like that. And I was like,
Hmm.
whoa. And then the ride was gone. And he's looking at his phone. He's like, what did you do? And I'm like, I didn't do anything. What did you do?
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
What's going He was like, well, I need to get there. And, we're in this area. There's nothing around.
Right.
So I was like, oh, look, it's 6 miles. I've drove you 194 miles so far. I'm just going to take you the rest of the
Yeah.
way.
At this point, it's like whatever.
Right. So we get there, and I drop him off, and so looking at it, and my dot, how you have the start green, the red dot end. Well, the red ended right at Michigan City, right on the Illinois-Indiana
Whoa.
border.
Oh man.
Whoa.
But it didn't prompt us
Yeah, that's weird.
until. So I call Uber Support, and they're like, we don't know what happened. There was a glitch. You didn't cancel it. He didn't cancel it. You didn't complete it, because they can see that. They can see when we initiate it or if the rider initiates it. She's like, I have no clue what happened. So I was like, all right. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, the rates doesn't seem like it's right. Because it only tried to give me $114.
Yeah, that's not right.
That's
And
not
I'm
right.
like, 200 miles. And I'm like doing the math, and I'm
Right.
doing the time. And I'm like, and a surge. I'm like,
You don't even need to do the
Right.
math. You know it's wrong.
right.
That's
I'm like,
right.
no. So I
Yeah.
call, and she's like, all right, yep, I fixed it. You're good to go. Pull my app back up, and it's like $136. And I'm like, no, that's not right. Call back again and get another lady. For an hour, I was on the phone with her, and she was like, well, we'll have to manually adjust it. And I'm like, all right, cool. She's like, so you get paid, 61 cents a mile or whatever it is. Your time is 11 cents a minute. Plus, you got a 39-cent long distance pickup credit. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. I said, and then the surge, she goes, and then we're going to take your Uber fees off of it. And I was like, whoa, no,
Yeah.
no. She was like, yeah, that's what we do. We put it in the
No.
system. And I said, no, that is not correct.
No,
I said,
no.
per my contract, I make this. That is, I said, I don't care if you charge them $500. in my contract, I get 61 cents a mile.
Well, you should tell other people that because they get all upset that
Right.
Uber's taking 90%
Well,
of my money.
right.
Well, they think it's a percentage, and like there was that one with that guy, and he goes, "Well, how do they make almost half of the fare?" And I'm like, "It doesn't matter. They can charge whatever they want."
Is it fair that you don't get it? Right.
Right.
It
Right.
seems
Right.
scammy, but
But-
you
It does.
signed the contract.
Right, you sign your
Exactly.
contract, and it's per mile per minute.
Yep.
And I was smart enough, and so she was like, "Well, I'm a businesswoman, and I'm doing the math with you," and I was like, "Ma'am, I've been doing this for 2.5 years. I know what I get paid." I said, "Pull up all of my fares. It is the same."
Right.
I said, "You guys can't take your fee out. Then you void my contract."
Right.
And she wanted to argue. She's like, "Well, you can go to a local office and talk to them." And I was like, I was fuming. So I
Yeah.
hung up on her,
No kidding.
called back, and I got a lady, and I'm like, "Look,
Did you have to wait on hold?
no.
Wow.
Nope." Called back, got another girl, and I said, "Look, when you're a writer, you look at it and it shows you, what it breaks it down.
Yep.
It's 84 cents a mile is what they charge the writer, 16 cents a minute." So I said, "Then you guys should take out your Uber fees. If you're going to do the math correctly, do it right."
Yeah.
And she goes, "No, you're right." Because the one lady kept saying, "I can't tell you. Every city's different. It varies." And I said,
No.
Must have been her
No.
first day.
I said,
Right.
"You should know."
Seriously.
And she goes, "You shouldn't have to go to an office." And she took care of it.
Yeah.
And it was nice, but I shouldn't have had to have called 3 times.
Well, like I said to you, I think you've learned if you're not getting it. I mean,
Right.
it's pretty simple what you were asking.
Right.
And after like the first 10 minutes, I'd be like, click, just dial it right
Right.
again. Try to get somebody else. Well, it's kind of the same thing on email. Sometimes you get the cut and paste responses, and you're like, you just keep emailing. All of a sudden, someone solves your problem in 1
Right.
second. You're like, oh, okay.
Well, and they use their fare calculator, right?
Yeah.
When you look at the actual, like right here when I posted it, they draw a line right across the water.
Yeah.
So that's how they calculate the miles.
Which
They
is
don't-
weird, like the bird flies.
Right.
Like a bird
Yeah.
flies. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I said to the last lady. I said, "Ma'am," I said, "you guys calculated as 141 miles." I said, "I can't drive through the water." And she was like, "No, you're right, Gabe. You cannot
Well, they're
drive through the water."
losing money.
Right.
Why do they not figure it out? It's Google Maps.
I don't know, because if you do like Grand Rapids to Detroit, it does a whole line.
Oh, does it? Well,
it follows it.
you got your picture in here where
Yeah.
it goes underneath. Yeah.
Right. So, it adjusts.
That's strange.
But it was just going back and forth because she was like, "No, it's only 141. I said, "Ma'am, pull it up in Google Maps. Like, pull it up in Waze. Pull it up in anything.
Yeah.
Anything, right?
It's 200 miles."
Pull it up in 2000 MapQuest.
Yeah.
It's-
Really?
You're gonna get
Really?
you're gonna get the right
Yeah.
answer.
I said, "You guys expect me to drive through the water? Like, are we joking here?" So, it's a learning experience, but it makes you wonder if you're not diligent and you don't know.
Yes. You're
You
just
know,
gonna. You're
You'd
just
been like,
gonna.
"Oh, I just got paid $114."
Yeah.
And left it at that.
Yeah.
For people who don't know
Or
Yeah.
don't bother to look.
or pay attention.
They don't know what they're making.
Because I think you make 120 from Grand Rapids downtown to Chicago. It's about $120
On X without a surge.
without a surge.
And what did you end up getting? Probably like 150.
186.
Okay, and then he tipped you.
Yeah,
right?
he tipped me $40, and I
Okay.
got my tolls back.
You may have said it at the beginning. Ben was talking to me. What was his reason for the trip down there?
His charter bus broke that he had to drive back to Chicago.
Okay.
So they were leaving it there for a mechanic
All right.
to grab it.
Don't hit the table.
Oh, sorry. And he wanted to get home.
Okay.
So
But where were the people he was taking home? Did they just stay in a hotel?
I think he was bringing them and dropping them off.
Oh, and he just was going to drive back deadhead.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
And he was at 76th Street
Okay.
and 131.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So
he probably didn't care about the surge of the trip because the company was probably going to pay for that.
yeah, he didn't care. He was just thankful that somebody grabbed it.
And that would be willing to go to Chicago.
right. And if I would have been like the end of the night, I would have been like, whoa, let me get somebody. But then I'm a softie, so I heard I've been trying for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Nobody's accepted my ride.
Sure.
Because it was surging downtown.
Yeah.
And then you had this one little spot at like Cutlerville,
Yeah.
right there in that area, and then it went up to like M6. And
I'm so
like,
glad he tipped you. Like, he really appreciated you
Yeah.
grabbing
Yeah.
that ride because he could have been waiting for a while. I know if it was that time of night, normally I would say, no, I'm exhausted. I've been up for
Right.
my daytime job since 5 a.m. I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and I think that's I'm a firm believer everything happens for a reason.
Yep.
So obviously, I'd slept 9 hours. I was good
yeah,
to go. And
that's
then,
what I was saying earlier. Like, you got that ride for a reason.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, I'm glad you got your right money
Yeah.
and you got tipped. And
Right.
Don't argue with someone for an hour next time.
So
No.
did he tip on the app or was it a cash tip?
Cash
Oh,
tip.
even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because he even said, he goes, I'll pay you whatever it is for the extra 6 miles
Wow.
to finish the ride. I just want to get to my car. And I was like,
Right.
we're good.
At 6 miles.
Yeah,
you're
I'm
like,
like,
Right.
I'm like, we're good. Like, I will just drive you.
I would be like, I just want to get you out of this car so I can drive
Yeah,
home.
I
I,
wanna
don't
go
care
home.
about 6 miles.
Right. And that's the one thing the lady made it. She goes, well, you wouldn't want to spend an hour. I said, ma'am, I got 3 hours. I got plenty of time to be on the phone with you till I get my money.
Nice.
So-
Make it happen.
I was wide awake, so.
Yeah, that's
Good.
perfect.
Good.
What about you, Ben? You haven't drove much the last couple weeks
I've
either.
driven a few times. Nothing too terribly out of the ordinary. I mean, just your basic airport rides, which have been fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything either. We're
Yeah.
terrible.
I'm kind of, I don't know. I wish I had some more exciting stories to tell.
No, I don't. What about you, Cindy? At least in the last 2 weeks, we know your story beforehand,
Okay,
and we'll
I-
touch on that.
Oh, in the last 2 weeks on Saturday, I drove for a wedding, went to Coral, Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, just a couple of people, or there and back, or what was
There and back, yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Did you wait there for them?
I did.
Oh.
I did. So I just figured out there's no Uber and Lyft there. So I took time
Ah.
off and just kind of looked at things around.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Dedication.
Where is Coral?
Coral is near Howard City, near Greenville.
Okay.
Hmm.
Is that someone you knew, or just?
They contacted me because they know I'm an Uber driver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, it's a weird place to have a wedding. It's
Yeah,
kinda-
they thought so
small.
too. They thought, where
Oh,
are you
oh.
taking us?
Oh, so they weren't the okay. No, that makes sense.
It
They
wasn't
were
their
just
wedding.
guests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, is it in this barn? We're having this wedding, this little barn?
You know, when I was driving for Flex, I got a Coopersville route. I saw 2 weddings at barns out in the boonies.
Yeah.
I'm like
Oh, yeah.
flying down a dirt road. I'm like flying, dirt's mud everywhere, and they're just having. I'm like, they're having a wedding right there.
And
It-
Coral's small. Like
It is.
it's literally like the
It's-
streets aren't regular city blocks. They're you have a group of maybe 5 streets.
Okay.
They're very
Uh-huh.
tiny.
It
There's
is.
no street lights. There
Was-
might be 1 or 2
Was
here
it
and there.
in downtown Coral, or was it in the country?
It was in the country on a dirt road.
Oh, okay.
And so they kept going,
And it
where
was a barn,
are you taking
right?
us? Are you sure you turned right?
Like, follow the GPS. Follow
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
GPS.
Yes, are you sure you turned right? It was on this dirt road and stuff. You know what I mean? It was a really cool place, outdoors. They had the wedding outdoors in
Yeah.
this nice barn. It was very beautiful and everything.
That day that I was in Coopersville, it was cold and kind of wet, and they were all outside. I'm sure the wedding was outside. Like, they were like sitting, like they were literally getting married when I drove by, and maybe the reception was inside the barn. But I'm like, it's been raining off and on all day. You may want to wrap this up.
They go, maybe we overdressed. Maybe we should have wore our cowboy boots.
Right.
And,
I'm like, yeah, if you get on this dirt road, you're gonna need some boots.
and they go, do we owe you extra for driving down the dirt road?
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
I go, yes, now you have to pay more.
It's hazard pay. Yeah.
Car wash pay has
Right. So why don't we go into real quick about what was that, about 2 months ago?
September 2nd.
September 2nd. So not quite 2 months, month and a half ago. So
So
why don't you just give
it-
us the
it hap-
synopsis?
so it happened in Grand Haven,
Right.
and I picked him up downtown Grand Haven. And everything was good, except I knew something was really off with him.
Yeah.
And there was some evidence of drugs.
Okay.
And
What evidence was that? Like,
I've not had a drunk rider that acted the way he did.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's usually a red flag when you're like, when you've seen so many drunks and you're like,
And it's not just alcohol, I could tell.
yeah.
And, well, finding out later, he's known in the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he gets in the ride and
He gets in the
and you
ride, it's
just
all
like,
good, and he's kind of rambling about stuff.
Yeah.
And stuff, and I'm just going, listening to him and stuff. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah. You
going
just
with
kind
it.
of do your.
It was cool, and it was actually, it was cool, but then it kind of concerned me because he kept saying, no, stop, no, turn here, no,
Okay.
turn there,
Oh.
and stuff. And a lot of times it started the GPSs, and I didn't know where he was going,
So what do you do when someone does that with the GPS? I typically, when they're drunk, I say, you know what, we're just going to follow the GPS. I think it's just better for both of us. but if they're sober, I'm like, yeah, I'll turn here because whatever. I'm fine with that. How do you guys handle that? Do you always listen to them? Or?
Usually no.
Okay.
If they know better and I don't know where I'm at, then I take their information.
Okay.
You know, if I have no idea where I'm at, then I take their information. If they know a better route,
Well, yeah.
but if I usually follow my GPS unless they tell me different.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'll ask him again. I'm like, what's the address that you're going to?
Okay.
Yeah, like tonight I had one and he was like, oh, you want to turn here? And I was like, no, I don't. You said Burton and Clyde Park. I said, that's Franklin.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to go there. And he was like, oh, I was just checking to make sure you knew where you're going. And I'm like, it's straight up here. Take a right, And he was just like, okay,
That's weird.
But you have to be firm though. There's some where like if you know the area,
Right.
and that's why I always double check. Like, hey, where are you going? What's the address? Because I had a guy last night. He put in the address, and I went to go turn right, and he's like, "No, you got to turn left." And I go, "But the house number?" He goes, "No, it's supposed to be a 5-6 blah blah blah." And I was like, "You put 6-6 blah, So that happens.
Yeah, it happens
because
on
people
They
don't
do.
pay attention.
They put
Do
the
you
wrong
confirm
addresses.
address when you pick him up?
Yeah,
And he still
Yep.
missed it?
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
But that's
great.
kind of the risk you take at night with people who've been
Yup.
drinking.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they hear you, but
They're
do
like,
they
yeah,
really
yeah.
hear you? No.
Yeah, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you pick them up and
So I pick him up, and he was just kind of weird all along. But I was going with the flow,
Right.
And,
Which you do,
know,
yep.
And I just try to be real nice to people, you
Yeah.
know, and trying to get him to his destination when he kept telling me, stop, no, you can't turn there. No, turn here. No, turn over here. And we'll come to find out later, his parents live over there. And his parents didn't want him dropped off over by their house.
Okay.
He's had a problem with drugs and alcohol in the community.
okay.
And my savior was that dash cam.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And if I didn't have that dash cam, and I almost didn't get a dash cam, except somebody in the ladies group had said, wouldn't you rather have a dash cam and not need it? And
Yep.
need one and not have it.
Exactly.
So I needed it.
Right.
Yeah.
He proposed, he wanted sexual favors for me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he proposed.
All right.
I said, no, I am married.
Yeah.
And he basically said, F you, and he asked for his sexual favors.
Oh, so he did he escalate after you said no? Is that what you're?
No, I was trying everything just to not have a conflict
Yeah.
with him and just
Which
be
is the
really,
smart thing to
really
do.
nice to do because I was nervous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got really nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was my last rider of the night. And so it didn't hit me until I got out of the car and everything hit me. And I called my husband right away and he
Right.
said, come home right now.
Yeah.
You know. And so we called the police and we called Uber, and the police knows who he is.
Okay. Well,
He's had many incidents in the community with other
Man,
women and
That's
too bad.
horrible.
whatnot.
Too bad.
And Uber has deactivated him, and
Good.
he has lost his job.
Okay.
Did he work for a pretty large employer?
He was a cook downtown Glen Haven.
Okay.
Some of the restaurants, and yeah.
Man.
And as soon as the employer found out about my video when I was on Channel 8 and Channel
Yeah.
13.
Did he recognize him or something?
Well, people contact me in some of my Facebook groups, like Glen Haven, going,
Yeah.
hey, I know who that person is.
Ooh.
Hey, I think this is such and such. So we looked him up, and he is a rap list. He's been in jail many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He obviously has some demons he needs to take care of.
And evidently, by us, you know, wanting him to get arrested isn't going to help him because he's been in jail and that hasn't corrected the problem.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, and you didn't contact the news, right? Someone contacted
Yeah,
you.
they reached out to us.
Yeah. I know you were getting a lot of hate about that.
I was getting a lot of hate because the video is very vague.
Yeah.
Because they cut things out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only show a certain amount of vulgarity on the news.
And so you couldn't see what he said.
Yeah.
But he kissed me on my cheek when he got out of the car, so you kind of see me being nice to him.
Yeah.
And that's what you see. Like, what's the big deal? Why are you
Right.
Why are you complaining about something so little?
Yeah.
You know.
No. Anytime. I mean, it's so. I mean, it's not being sexist, but it's more dangerous for women to be
Right.
drivers. I mean, let's face it, guys are jerks. You know, and
Uh-huh.
and it doesn't take a lot sometimes for a guy, and maybe there's no intent behind it, but to be inappropriate when you're drunk. You know what I mean?
Well, and nobody knows truly what they would do unless they're in the situation.
Absolutely.
So everyone can sit there and say, "Oh, you're making it a big deal."
Yeah.
But if you were in that situation, or your wife, or a female, family member was, you would be like, "Whoa."
Yeah, I call them armchair quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
So you're sitting in your armchair and you're like, do this, do that, do that. Like, okay, well, you weren't
People
there.
are just suggesting. There was a lot of very good people out there saying, you did a great job and you handled yourself correctly and everything, and I'm so sorry this happened to you. And then there's those idiots going, you know what I mean? You should have done this or that. Why was he sitting in your front seat and not in the back? I go, I would have rather him being in my front seat that I can see him than in my back seat, you know? And so I have a lot of recognition in the community now.
Yeah, there's going to be internet trolls on our YouTube videos. I have been called so many things, and I'm just like, whatever, dude. You're just on the internet plunking some numbers or plunking some letters in. Yeah.
The good part of it is a guy called me from New York, a reporter, and he Skyped through my house and wanted the full coverage out there. Unedited.
Oh, okay.
So I uploaded the videos to him, so he had the unedited version because he wanted to show people what really happened.
Yeah.
And to protect other drivers and people from it. You know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of those stories going around. I mean, that seems to be the hot topic is safety.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad things worked out. I mean, and you were not probably. It was in the country. Like, were you in any kind of city setting when you were driving him?
I was in Grand Haven.
Yeah, I wonder. I always tell people too that if you ever have an issue, drive to the center of the city, and get out of the car and talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Because if you're out in the country, okay, whatever. But if you're like, drive down to Ionia, downtown Ionia, and like, hey, this guy's freaking out in here. He's freaking me out. Like, I need some help. I just tell people that if you have that opportunity to drive somewhere.
So maybe the best thing would go to drive to a gas station or something?
I think so. Yeah. I mean,
somewhere in public.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't go to the police department because it's 2 a.m. I mean, there may be somebody in there, but chances are they're out on the road. But somewhere where there's just people moving, and because that's gonna, whatever he or she is doing, that's gonna slow their roll down regardless if there's people watching.
Right.
You're out in the boonies and it's like,
yeah.
But
it brings up an interesting point for me. Obviously, rideshare drivers are background checked, and rightfully so. Do you think that passengers should be background checked?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I mean,
how many people would actually be able to take rides then?
Yeah. I mean, that's true.
Do I want it? Yes. Will it ever happen?
No.
Probably
Absolutely
not. Yeah.
No. Yeah. I mean, no one's going to use your service. They'd go bankrupt. Well, they're not even profitable. They'd be like, no, we're not going to do that. Yeah. So.
Well, that costs too.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to think about how many users and then what they charge to run a background check.
Yeah, my guess is it's probably $25, but I'm sure Uber gets an insane discount because they're running
because of the sheer volume.
Yeah, they're probably running 2,000 or 3,000 a day. Because they do it every year too. Or as needed.
But even with a background check, though, they look at some of the stories with drivers. They've passed background checks.
The guy in Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
I mean, he had
exactly.
And the thing is, people don't understand. They're like, "Oh, that guy in Kalamazoo." I'm like, he could have been working at a factory. Just because he was an Uber driver doesn't mean it doesn't make it work. It doesn't make it any worse. I mean, he had a mental issue and he went crazy.
Yep.
So. And speaking of the guy at Kalamazoo. I know the person that it was their cousin that died.
Oh no! Because that was 6 people.
Something like that.
That's crazy. Yeah. That was the oddest story, and that's why it makes me think. Clearly, mental issue is he wasn't hurting any passengers. He was taking rides in between whenever he was doing his crime.
Well, and that was big news, right? But then, did you hear about I think it was a girl rider. She killed the Uber driver.
Yeah, with a machete.
Mental
problems.
And, there was a brief news clip about it, but then nobody talked about it. But then the Uber driver.
Well, hey, we're still in business because of that, because the Uber gets clicks, right?
Yeah.
So anytime there's a story, I mean, there'll be guy murders some guy. He's an Uber driver. He wasn't even driving for Uber at the time, but that's his profession. It
Right.
didn't say, oh, he worked at the hardware store.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it was like, what was it?
Right.
There was a recent one too with an Uber driver from Chicago. They found him in, was it Calumet? In his trunk, he had been shot. Yeah, I just read that the other day.
Yeah.
Well, was he Ubering on the south side of Chicago?
I don't know.
Yeah.
'Cause
See, that's just the risk. It's the inherent risk.
Yeah.
We never know who we're going to pick up.
And there is more of a risk than working in a factory, let's say, because you're out in you don't know what's
you don't
happening.
know that person.
You don't
or
know
who's
that
got in
person.
your car.
Yeah.
But for the most part in Grand Rapids, don't you agree? It's in the Lakeshore too that it's relatively safe.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got like 3,000 rides. I've never had anything where a criminal where I
No.
well, I mean, I'm sure I've had
Drug
beer
use.
bottles and drug use in the car
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
occasion, but nothing that I had to be like, whoa, I need to call the cops.
Right.
But
Yeah, I can't name one situation out of over 8,000 rides where I've been like,
yeah, the
No.
craziest thing was that stabbing. And I never saw it, but I
Yeah.
saw it looked like they were punching them.
Yeah.
That Stella's one, but clearly they were doing something else. But it was far enough away, and I'm like, I'm just gonna look ahead. Like,
Yeah.
and like 2 minutes later, just as I was pulling out, like 20 cop cars. So that was about
Yeah.
the extent of my excitement driving. So I'm glad I wasn't involved in that. Anything else on stories?
So, other than that one episode, Cindy, have you ever had to call 911 while
Not
driving?
911, but I've had some people want to linger in my car and not want to get out.
Okay.
And I've had people want to invite me into a party with them.
Oh yeah.
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 And
That's pretty normal.
I said,
It's-
now, if I did that, now I couldn't drive you.
Yeah.
Now, could I?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, I'm out here to make money,
No.
not to be your friend.
Somebody on the Facebook page posted like, "Oh, I got offered weed again as
Yeah.
a tip." I'm like, "Yeah, that's like once a week." I mean,
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I've been offered weed, gummies. Do I want to come in and drink with them? Do I
Yeah.
want to come in and drink and have a sandwich with them?
oh, now the sandwich.
And I'm like, no,
That's
I gotta
okay.
get going.
If you want to make that sandwich and come
Right,
outside,
then I can go.
I'm in. I'm
Oh,
in.
I did have one really good ride. I forgot about it until you said sandwich. Because, so it's surging, and it's a ride from one of the bars on Michigan. I think it was Duke's, or no, it's Birch Lodge. So I pull up, and there's a young dude on crutches, and he's just like down in the dumps, you can tell. And so he hobbles into my car. He requested an XL because he's on crutches and it's hard to maneuver in a small car. So he gets in, and I start the trip, and I see the destination. I forget where we were headed, but it was like far. It was outside of Lowell, past Lowell, 96, and it was surging like 2.6. So that was a really nice ride.
yeah.
And we're getting off on his exit, and he's like, "Yo, dude, you want Subway?" He's like, "I'm all set, thanks." He's like, "No, man, they're open 24 hours. You want Subway?" I said, "No, I'm okay." Again, the Subway's open 24 hours. You want to go? I was like,
forcing a sandwich down your throat.
"Do you want a Subway sandwich?" And he's like, "No, I'm just making sure that you don't." And I'm like, "I'm good." He's like, "Okay, if you say so."
Why is it so awkward when they offer? Like, I always turn down stuff. Like, they're
Me
like,
too.
"I'm going to the gas station. Do you want anything?" Like, even though I love Monsters so much, and Ben didn't bring me one tonight.
Oh,
I
sorry.
love them so much. If they offered me one, I'd be like, "Nah, it's good, man." I don't know why.
They
Like,
always want to offer you food. You
Yeah.
go to
Yeah.
their
Like-
Taco Bell or something. Do you want something?
Yeah, food
No.
or
Pay for something, you know.
drinks. I've had people, and I'm like, no, I'm good. And they'll look, and then they'll come out, and they're like, hey, look, I saw you had one.
Now, yeah, that has happened, and I will accept
Yeah.
it then. But I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say, yeah, I like this flavor.
Right.
Make sure the can's not dented. Like, I have like my routine for Monsters.
Oh man, a couple of years ago, I had a really drunk woman, and she was not taking no for an answer. So I was like, "Fine, I'll just have a vitamin water." And she just looks at me. She's like, "Are you trying to lose weight or something? Why are you drinking that?" It's like,
No, it gives you energy and
No,
Like-
if I was gonna,
vitamin B.
if I was looking to lose weight, I wouldn't be drinking vitamin water. I'd be
Right.
drinking water.
Yeah, I know.
I think Nick though, he's gotten like wings bought for him.
Yeah.
Where he picks them up at the airport and they want to stop and get food.
Oh yeah, he
and
did
then
mention that.
they're like, no, order something. And so Nick's like, I have wings for after work,
Yeah. I know that if you want to get free food, do Uber Eats. Now, I did it for those weekends. I delivered all my food. They never canceled or anything, but apparently you see stories all the time. People get free food from because whatever reason they decide to cancel. It's taking too long or whatever.
Yeah,
and
you do.
then you get free food.
Speaking of Uber Eats, do you guys all do Uber Eats?
No.
So
I did not like it.
no,
It's kind of a rip up with pay and whatnot.
it's a lot of work for a little pay.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way trying it when I was out here, and I'm like, I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
So I did it for 2 weekends. Now I've done Grubhub for years. So
You're supposed to do it for a month.
Shut up.
Just putting that out there.
I backed out on that, okay? Hashtag it sucked. So I've done Grubhub, but I've never done Uber Eats. And, man, it's just such a different platform. Like Grubhub, I know what I'm going to make when I get the notification. It tells me the tip's already in there, like everything.
I have no clue with the other.
Yeah, you're like, and I waited at a McDonald's. So the first weekend I did everything. I took everything that was 8 minutes or less. So just like a ride. I don't take anything more than 8 minutes. And I waited at McDonald's, and from accepting to delivering, it was 32 minutes. I made $4.80.
I know, it's ridiculous. So I stopped doing it. I was getting all these McDonald's runs.
Yeah.
And then it was like at 5 on
Busy
28th
track.
Street
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm just like, okay, I'm not doing that again.
No kidding.
The only fit I see for Uber Eats is if it's just slow for riders and you're bored and you can choose if you
Something to do.
Well, yeah, if you get a McDonald's, you'll cancel. Like if you get certain restaurants, I already could figure out it took forever for them to get the food. Some of them I would go and right there, walk in, grab it, out, boom, boom. I'm not making a ton, but at least I'm not
Something.
waiting.
Not waiting for a ride, right?
Well, I mean, even waiting for the food. If you have to go to a restaurant and you have to wait for food, you just lost every bit of profit. that you had.
Exactly.
But if you walk in and grab it, okay, you're going to make a little bit. But yeah, I would encourage people if they're bored and they just want to stay busy or whatever, why not throw it on? If you're driving right past it, maybe it's ready to go. You never know. So
I almost had one last night, but it
yeah,
wasn't
'cause of the
because
press.
Yeah, because of the glitch. Like I was like, oh, ride. No, I'm not going to do that. And then I was like, oh, another ride. It's right here. And I went to, and then I saw meal delivery, and I was like, oh.
Whoa.
What
Not
is
doing
that?
it.
Hurry up and like cancel
You
it.
recalled like
yeah,
it's
my
the
hand.
plague.
I was like, no. And then
So is that back normal now today?
I didn't have any issues today, but I don't
Okay.
know if it was because I had set my preference from last night.
Maybe.
They were all reset though.
I hadn't seen any chatter today about it being bad again. So
Yeah, because it was the preferences were off. Everything was open. So if you were select
so
Excel,
it reset it
yeah,
it reset everything.
It turned everything on. So if you didn't know and you didn't pay attention, which usually I pay attention because it'll say open to most trips, so I know my filter's on. It didn't say that, and I didn't pay attention to it because
you're just
I'm
like
used
whatever. Yeah, I don't have to change
Right.
this. It's like
But I think it was the whole app because
Yeah.
even notifications, like it said 1 minute away. It said
Yeah.
like less than a mile. Well, I use a tablet so I can see where my next ride is. And it was like all the way in Allendale, and I'm on like...
how do you have an app like that and then all of a sudden this happens? I feel like they pushed some code out and it just dumped it. Like they're like, oh, we're just gonna try this today, and they just force it through and they're like, oh, panic, it's not working.
Well, when I took that Chicago trip, the first lady and the third lady said that they had a bunch of updates that they were pushing through, and that it causes problems. And because that's what I said. I said, well, why does my dot stop at the Indiana-Illinois border, but I didn't get the notification till here, and you guys can't see what's going on? Well, we have a bunch of updates.
I don't understand coding, and I know it's complicated, but don't they test this stuff before they push it out?
No kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I would.
Well, here's the problem. Android has a billion different styles of phones, right? So, iPhone, this is the software, like
right. That's it.
But you send it out to Android, and you're like, oh, all of a sudden this LG phone's not working, or all of a sudden whatever phone. I think maybe that's the issue because I'm like, don't you test it before you push it out?
I think so.
Well, Jesper said he didn't have any glitches the other night.
That's true. He drove the
And
last
that's
2
an Android.
nights.
So you have an iPhone, right, Gabe?
No, I have an Android.
Oh, interesting. Well, so much for that theory, Jesper.
Well, I just was throwing it out there. I'm like, I just don't understand why a huge company like that all of a sudden, and that's well, I guess it's not a major glitch, but it really affects how you drive.
Right.
I mean,
When they, and, you know,
Does.
they're a what? We were just talking about how much they were worth. I just saw an article. It's like in the 100 billion
Yeah, I don't know if I buy that.
I don't buy it
dollar
either.
amount, but
Well,
still,
it's
you
for
should
that
be
IPO.
able. You should still be able to afford like a test group where you go on. You know, like a beta. Like major companies have it. They have the test, and then they have the regular. And they're like, when you do training, make sure you're in the training.
Well, Lyft, I run a Lyft beta app.
Yeah, I
I'm
do
in
too.
that group.
Yeah.
And they push out updates sometimes 3 times a day. I'll get emails saying, "Oh, update this, update that." I mean, so I don't know why. Maybe Uber does, and they just don't tell us. But I don't know. That just seems it. Why is it Uber's having so much trouble with all their apps? Like Lyft is like it just works.
Lyft is so much simpler, I think.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's less clunky.
You
It
cannot
is.
get messed up on it.
Yeah.
I do not specifically like the new update on Uber.
I mean, it's okay.
I love it.
I don't because it was different and I had to get used to where everything was.
Oh yeah.
and
it's
still,
changed.
sometimes I still forget where things are because
Well,
I was so used to the old.
I will be on your team on this, and these guys tease me so hard. So I can do Uber X, Uber XL, and Select. They're in the same letters. They don't do anything different. So when an X comes up, it looks the same as a Select. Like you have to read. I know you have to read it. But I feel like the old app, there was something different about it, or a different color, or a bigger font, or something. I have trouble. I'm like, oh, I clicked it. I thought it was an
I think
XL.
it was at the top before. When
Could
it
be.
would-
I just felt it. I knew for sure that this was going to be a Select. This was going to be an XL
Right.
because I've missed an XL thinking it was an X.
And you're driving and trying to pay attention to
yeah,
all this
that's
stuff and
another thing. I mean,
distractions.
the
and,
font
yeah.
is like this big down there. I'm like,
That's why I use a tablet.
yeah, I know.
Going back to the Uber Eats, I belong to the Ladies Grand Rapids group on Facebook. So
Okay.
they asked me to mention for not to walk into the buildings. I'm thinking that's at the destination.
Yeah, someone was talking about that.
Yeah,
So
meet him in the lobby or something.
Yeah.
not to walk up to their room, but walk into the lobby area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I said, was there anything specifically that you woman would like me
That's-
to talk about?
That's
you know?
really smart. I think it's just
I think it was Liberty posted that the person wanted her to come up to the room, and she was like, "No,
Yeah.
So
I'll
would
meet
you
in the
do
lobby."
would you do that for a hotel? Would you go up to the room for a hotel?
They've always met me right at the lobby when I've gone
Typically,
to a hotel.
but I mean, would you go up to one?
I don't know.
I mean, 'cause hotels seem-
When I did pizza
well,
delivery, there were some hotels they want you to meet them in the lobby,
For sure.
and there's some where they don't care if you go up.
Right.
I think it kind of depends on the area and the hotel.
Yeah.
If you're like Nights In and you want me to go on 28th Street, there's no way I'm going to a
Right.
room.
Well,
You
the
know.
Drury Inn. No, not Drury. What's the weird one on Union in Michigan?
Hampton Inn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a key to get in the room.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to wait in the lobby.
And I did go into the apartment building when we first started doing Uber Eats. But second thinking that, and being a woman too,
Well,
safety.
I find women want to meet me in the lobby because they don't want me going up to their apartment. So it's kind of, I mean, I don't mind it. I guess I'll walk up there, but I can see as a woman
For a
probably
safety issue, yeah.
for a safety issue.
Yeah.
So that Joy Run, I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Yes, I have.
So it's kind of a cool way they work it is like you pick a location that's public and everyone meets you there.
Oh,
So,
that's neat.
yeah, so I mean, obviously, if you live 6 miles away, it wouldn't work, but they're more centralized. I haven't really done it yet. I tried it a few times, but
I say I've ordered from it, but he just came to my house.
yeah, because if it's
Yeah.
a single, yeah, I mean, you kind of deliver, but it's supposed to have like a group mentality, like an apartment complex, so then you all meet at this one spot. But
Oh, okay.
so, yeah, I think I think as a woman, I wouldn't go up to an apartment either.
Yeah.
And why would you want the drive? I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm sure they got some flack about that because they're like, well, you go up to someone's house. What's the difference? I guess what do you do when you deliver to someone's home? Don't
Just
you?
hand it off to them. You don't have to go through a building and, yeah, you know.
I guess I don't know what the building makes it unsafe.
Well, because you're in hall, not,
in
you
the
know, if
hall.
you
It's
go to
true.
a house, you know, the front of the house is exposed.
True. You're right. If
Yeah.
something happened,
Right.
you could
know,
run.
People can see
You,
you,
can
run. You
but
can
how
scream.
fast can you get through that apartment building?
That's true.
Yeah.
What if
Very
you're
good point.
walking down the hall and you're going to look for a certain room, but maybe they're right here and it was a setup?
Yeah, you're right. You
know,
lose
I get that.
your element
Right.
of
Yeah.
escape.
Yeah.
That's true. I never thought about that. You
Yeah.
know, I guess I don't think that way
Right.
all the time. So
Yeah.
that's a good point. All right. So we're going to jump into rideshare in the news. I'm not going to play this whole video. This is a warning. This guy is used swear words. So I'm actually have to mark this explicit probably on iTunes because he uses a lot of swears. So we'll watch a little bit of it. But this is, they label it as watch racist Trump supporter call cops on a black Lyft driver, not letting them play music. And I think I actually saved it somewhere. So do that in a minute. I won't play it. Yeah, look at it, 16 minutes.
This driver is amazing. Just gotta say.
Don't think he deserves 500K, but
I'm sorry, this gentleman's recording me right now, and it's against New York State law to record me. I'm actually on the corner. Hello.
I can record too, buddy.
I'm actually on the corner.
I got anxiety. You done killed my shit because you want to play fucking music. You want to listen to this boring ass fucking preaching shit. Fucking motherfucker. That's so fucking. Yo, I gotta. No.
so if you heard one of the guys said you want to listen to that boring ass preacher, so he must have been listening to Christian music or something like that because I heard that him say that. I was like, okay.
Oh, hello. No, I don't really Hello. We got in a fucking Uber cab just to fucking argue over fucking. He's
No, he stopped, and he's actually recording me against my will. I'm gonna sit here and wait for the. There's no injuries, but
There's
I'm
gonna
being
be.
charged.
There's gonna be
No
exactly.
kidding.
Asking for music. I don't want to have any issues or any situations, but the gentleman is recording me without my consent. So definitely, I'm gonna stay here until you guys get here, and I'm not getting out of his vehicle until you get here. And I'm going to start recording
Do
him
you
until you
believe
get
this?
here.
Oh my god, over music.
All I did was ask for music, ma'am. My name is Robert Ortiz.
The extra. They
I don't know what else.
Job.
917 348 9972.
Oh, he posted it. Did no one bleep that out?
yeah.
I bet he had to change his number.
He's
Yeah, he
gotten
did.
so much hate.
And I feel racially profiled.
Oh,
Being
jeez.
that we're doing this, I feel
Really?
racially
His that dude's deadpan face, the
Racially
driver.
profiled.
He's like,
racially profiled.
I'll stand in front of
Racially
he
profiled.
said we're
because I'm not
gay.
black.
That's
Yeah.
not racially profiled.
No,
No.
it's not.
You picked the right one today. You definitely picked the right one today. And I'm not hanging up with the cops until they get here. I'm not hanging up with the cops until they get here, ma'am. I don't want to
Yeah.
hang up with you for
because
my
they're
safety.
charges.
For your
For your
safety, you can
safety.
leave the car.
Yeah.
He said he wasn't going to get out of the car.
Why you
Now he's out.
acting? Why you took the camera? No, you don't understand. My anxiety is music. My fucking anxiety is going crazy. Fuck that. I can end up in the hospital having a heart attack over this motherfucker don't want to play fucking music. No.
Well, I just don't understand why they don't get out of the
My
car.
I know.
anxiety's going crazy right now.
Because they're drunk.
Yeah.
This guy also lost his job.
Yeah, the original guy, right,
Yeah.
on the phone.
Yep.
Yeah. The only one that won was the guy that wasn't videotaped.
Yeah.
So you must not have. I'm recording too, so it's fine. Candy camera. Not have a light friend about that.
All right, well we'll end it at that. It gets worse on. They call him racist names and
Yeah.
etc.
It's pretty
So
bad.
I mean, let's talk about that driver. Do you think that do you think he did the right thing? Would you have just sat there?
I would have just kicked him out.
I think I would have asked
Get out
him
of
to
my
leave
car.
and cancel the ride. I think.
Well, I think they canceled the. I think he canceled the ride.
I would have said-
But the problem is, what if they won't leave the car? Then you're like, ooh.
Then
I've
you-
never had
I
that
think you call
situation.
it
You
cop.
can call,
Call
the
the
police.
cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've seen videos where
Yeah, they
the
have.
drivers have called and they're like, "Hey, look,
Can you come?
I cancel the
yeah.
ride. It's my right as a driver to cancel
Yeah.
the ride. They won't leave my vehicle." And the person's like, "I'm not getting out."
Yeah. Man, he was so calm. Like as soon as like the racial thing would have flown, I would have been like, okay, it's on. I don't care if we're videotaping.
Right.
This is gonna be a fist fight.
Yeah, he's very patient.
Yeah,
He was.
It was. How could he not say anything at all?
I know. How could he
How
not?
could you just sit there and not say anything?
I kind of feel
I
like.
guess I would protect my music.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. It would protect something.
I feel like he almost let it just go that way instead of stopping it. I think he kind of exploited the situation a little bit because as a driver, and I mean, he's not small. I mean, he could take those
Right.
guys on
Right.
and be commanding and kick them out.
Right.
But he didn't. He kind of let it go. And then after all this boils out, then he gets on GoFundMe and starts this big fundraiser because Lyft deactivated him while he was
So
they were looking into it.
I do agree with you. He may have thought. I mean, it's tough.
It's one of those situations that's tough. Let's be honest. There's 3 of them, 1 of him.
Yeah.
You know, so you kind of like, and then 3 of them against you. Their
Yeah.
word against what actually happens. You know, so I probably would have bit my tongue, which I usually do.
Yeah.
You know, if there's certain things, I'm
Right.
pretty quiet until I get to a point, and then I'll be like, look, we need to stop talking about this. You need to leave the vehicle.
Yeah.
You know,
And we don't know what happened before that.
Right.
right.
It's
So
true.
Right, we don't.
They could have been I mean, I don't know. What I would have done is I would have recorded like he did if I
Yeah.
didn't have, I mean, I have a
Yeah.
dash cam, and I would have called 911 and put him on speaker. And I would have been like, all right, these guys won't leave, and just wait till the cops got there. And
Yep.
so,
Right.
and I don't know, were they in New York?
Yeah.
I think
Because,
so.
I mean, yeah.
I
with-
mean, was this an experienced driver, or
I
do
don't
we know?
I
no,
don't know.
he was experienced. He's been doing this for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, the GoFundMe thing, man.
Yeah.
So what was he asking to GoFundMe for?
He was asking for funds to cover his lost wages because Lyft restricted his access to the platform while they investigated.
But
He's
it
a
was like
full-time
It was
driver.
3 days.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think it was 2 days.
2 or 3 days. That's all.
So
You're not going to make 20K in 2 or 3 days. But that's what he set his goal as for the fundraiser.
is 20K.
It's 20,000.
Really?
So that's the problem. That makes me think you're exploiting it.
Yeah.
If you only
Uh-huh.
need it for your earnings, it's on a good day or good 3 days. Let's just put $1,000
Yeah.
in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, and so I don't know why, but people have been giving like crazy. Like it's reached the 50K mark.
Well, here's why.
Oh.
People feel bad for him the
Yes.
way he was treated.
Yes.
But still, what do you need 50K?
that amount of money, right?
Some people don't even make that in a year.
I know.
I know.
Like, what are you doing?
The GoFundMe, there was a story a while back that was circulating the news. This woman ran out of gas, and a homeless guy gave her $20. It's the only $20 he had. He said, "Here, get gas." So they're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." So they found him, her and her husband, and they like raised all this money for him, like 400,000.
And
Well,
they spent
They
spent
kept it.
all. So now, the follow up on that, he's gonna get all his money. Apparently, what is it? Oh, GoFundMe has an insurance policy on that, but they're gonna go to jail for like 6 years. So the GoFundMe thing is just, it's for people that need funds. This guy
Like somebody with an illness.
or
you know?
anything. Like,
Or
hey,
something. Yeah.
I'm so poor. My spouse died. I have no
Right.
money for like.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I would.
But you see
I was
some
heckled by
weird-
Uber passengers.
Yeah. You see weird
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
though, like I need to buy a new computer.
Yeah.
You know, some of those links I see them and I'm like,
What?
I'll agree. I have given to a few of them in some of the Uber groups. I like read the story. Like I just feel bad for some of them. I'm just like, they're
You're the reason people are getting
I
50K.
know. Well, I'm not. It's not a lot.
it all adds up.
But I'm just like, maybe.
Now, if it had to do with pets, I definitely would.
Do you have pets?
Oh,
I do.
now we know Cindy's weakness. So hey, anyone that has a GoFundMe on pets. So
We
you don't.
just rescued a dog from Dowagiac.
Dawashiak.
We drove all the way down there for him.
What is that commercial? The
We have a rescue dog too.
ASPCA where
Oh my
it's Sarah
goodness.
McLachlan.
I
will remember you.
I can't. I have to turn the commercial.
I do too. It's too sad.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Ugh.
know it is.
and the animal's actually crying on the video.
Yeah, did you stab him with a pen to make him cry? I'm like, how is that animal? How is that dog have
Spritz
tears?
bottle.
All right, next up, this is kind of has to do with Uber Eats. They're going after groceries next.
No.
No. So it was interesting. It says Uber Eats has hit 6 billion in bookings earlier this year and growing over 200%. I heard they rake the restaurants over the coals for how much they take. It's like 35 or 40%.
Really?
That they take
they?
that Uber takes from the restaurant.
Wow.
To do that. So they're only making 6. I mean, it's better than, I think it's good for restaurants that don't have any delivery service. At least they're making more money on some delivery. But if you already have, I mean, Uber Eats delivers Jets Pizza, and they have delivery drivers too. They're just doing it so they can crank out more volume. But
In Holland now expanded. They have Uber Eats.
are they going to shut Uber down in the winter like they always do
No,
or not?
they
Because they
don't
used to
shut
do
it
that.
down.
They don't shut it down?
No.
They did the first year. It was in
They
Holland.
may have.
Yeah, I
first
thought they
year,
like shut it down in Holland.
Yeah, but
They may
they
have.
haven't yet.
They may have, but no, it just slows down.
Yeah. So do you really want some of these drivers delivering your groceries? Like Shipt is pretty extensive on their background. They didn't hire me.
I don't like
mean,
it.
They saw
I
that,
did it.
They saw that my big beard and they're like, oh, I don't want this freak delivering groceries.
They didn't hire you?
They did not
It's
hire
very
me.
stressful. Very stressful.
Is it? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We just started using Shipt.
Thank you.
Actually used Ben's promo code.
My wife's.
And
let's
or
be honest.
your family's.
There you go.
And it goes on the same paycheck or the same
It
checking
does.
account. But I love it. But my point is the bar is so low for Uber drivers. Some of them, I mean, do you really want them delivering your groceries? I don't know. I guess it's the same
Yeah.
thing
I
as
don't
food, but
know.
that's like 3 times tonight.
I know.
I'm
so
going
bad
to
at this.
like-
smack you.
It's like
And if
that.
anything, that could be even less safe than being an Uber driver because you have to walk into people's houses.
You don't have to.
You don't have to,
You
but
meet 'em at
most
the
people,
door.
a lot of people do.
Yeah, so
be nice,
well, I
you
always
know?
feel bad because the first guy I didn't let in. Not that he didn't weird me out, but I'm just like whatever, I'll grab him. Well, he actually bought like these bags. He put all the bags in one big bag, so I just took the big bag and emptied them. Well, this last woman, she just had them all in her hand. I'm like, well, this is gonna be awkward. Me trying to take them. I should have just had her sit them down, but I just let her come in the house and put them in the kitchen. The gerbils. But I don't know. I just don't know if Uber if that's a good fit. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't know. I get thrown off by the whole. What was a video I saw with the Uber Eats delivery guy eating the person's food on
Oh yeah,
camera?
we talked about that last
Yeah,
podcast.
in the fry.
Like,
That was in
like,
Australia.
I thought I ordered for something to be delivered, and
Right. Yeah, they got it on security camera. I don't know. I mean, whatever. I feel like the bar is pretty low for Uber, and like I feel it's like Uber, Lyft, and then kind of goes up from there. And I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm not gonna say I won't do it, but I mean, if it's cheaper. I mean, Shipt is a little bit more
I
expensive.
think it's
but-
everything's. I think Uber has found everything's about convenience.
Yeah, well, I feel like they're like Facebook. Facebook's trying to keep you in the app, right? They want to see. I mean, look at my stat. I look at my stats now. The new software for iOS gives you stats of how much you've like picked up your phone. Like once a week, you get a summary. Oh my lord! Like how long you're on each app, how many times you pick up your phone. But Facebook wants to keep you. I mean, you can pay stuff on Facebook. They got Messenger now. Like they want to keep you in their ecosystem.
Right.
And I think Uber's doing the same thing. We talked about Uber Cash, where it's like a cash app, like how you can pay on Facebook Messenger. They're doing the same thing for Uber. You're going to be able to pay, which I guess is kind of convenient.
Okay, Uber Cash.
Uber Cash.
What is it? What does that mean?
So, do you know about the Cash app or Venmo? Do you know about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. So,
Oh.
I'm just saying they're trying to keep everyone in their platform, like groceries,
So, yeah.
food, fast food delivery, cash. Just
So people are going to be
sharing.
able to pay cash?
No.
No.
No, that is an option. I had a ride last night.
Really?
It popped up for the guy, and it said he could pay with cash. And I
Really?
said, "I've not.
I've done
this
that.
is the second time I've heard of it, but
It's
I've
in
never
international
done it."
markets.
He said that it will pop up and give him the option, and out of his account, his card, it will take their Uber fees out, and then what he gives me is my portion.
Interesting.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is
Yeah, and I
weird.
was just like, I don't
That
know how I
seems
feel
shady.
about
Yeah,
that.
it does.
It's a little
Ooh.
weird to me. I don't want to be carrying around cash.
No. But anyways, when I say cash, I'm meaning they can pay their friends.
You can
Okay.
send
digitally.
money.
Okay.
So, which is kind of convenient because right now, what do you hear when you pick up a group? Hey, I'll Venmo you the money
Yeah.
for the Uber. I'll Venmo or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what the young kids use. I don't know.
PayPal.
I know. I felt really
Yeah,
old when people
PayPal.
were like, Venmo
PayPal.
me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Well,
Venmo?
what's funny about Venmo is it's like a social network. If you've ever, I have Venmo because I sell honey from my bees, and then Megan's friends pay me via Venmo. But if you look at the feed, you can make it's public, so it'll say blah blah blah, and you can like put gifts in, paid so and so, paid so and so for this. I'm like, I don't want this, so I changed mine to private. But I'm like, this is weird. Like, can we just do PayPal?
Right.
Yeah.
What's PayPal? That's been around since eBay. What's
I think
eBay?
Yeah.
PayPal owns Venmo now.
Oh,
Do
really?
they?
They
I
definitely
like
bought
Pay-
it.
I've used PayPal before.
Oh yeah, I use
like
PayPal
PayPal.
weekly, and I
Yeah.
use Facebook Messenger. But it's just Uber. I mean, you would
Oh, yeah.
you would think that they would just try to get profitable first before they try everything else. But
Pro tip with Facebook Messenger: if you have 2 bank accounts, you can transfer money immediately between the bank accounts.
so 2 bank accounts from the same bank,
No,
or like different banks?
different banks. If
No.
it's the same bank, you can just transfer
Oh,
money.
you just do
Right,
it via
right.
debit card,
Yeah.
right? I didn't know that.
So I do it all the time because I have an expense account that I have for rideshare stuff, so
Okay.
gas or whatever. So if I have too much and I didn't need it, I just send
Send
to Facebook.
yourself money.
I send it to my wife
Oh, okay.
because her
My
debit
wife.
card is linked to the other joint checking account. So you can transfer money without fees by using Facebook Messenger
What?
between institutions.
Why didn't I do
That's
that? Why am I doing that with
interesting.
our business account? Because I'm writing a check and then doing a mobile deposit.
I don't know if you can send it to Pages.
Oh, anyways.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's good to
I did
know.
not know
Pro
that.
tip.
Next up, this is so. Have you ever heard? I absolutely bodied an Uber driver. Have you ever heard that saying, like I bodied somebody?
No.
No.
Like I read that. Apparently, that's like a hip thing.
Huh.
So this is a good article. We'll post it sometime this week. It's super long. Basically, what it is this driver is trying to play the cancel game. So he's requesting a ride, and he's doing everything. He's not driving to the guy. And so it's a conversation about them back and forth, and the passenger figures out that this is what this guy is trying to do. So it kind of goes back and forth, and it's just, I don't understand that game, the cancel game.
I've heard of writers that will tell me,
Yeah,
and I just tell them, I'm like,
Yeah.
look, take a screenshot of the message.
right,
I said, take a screenshot of the screen if they're not moving.
right.
So you have timestamps where you can be like, look, it's been 4 minutes and they haven't moved.
Yeah.
I said, and then send that to Uber. I said, because I hate when people take advantage of
Well,
the system.
who's
Oh, I
who's fighting over a $3.60 cancel fee? I mean that's what I get after Uber takes their
Right,
cut. I'm
right.
at 28%. So why is that more profit? I mean, I get it. Yes, some rides it is more profitable, but why are people doing? I don't understand that.
Wait, think about it. Think about if they're on they're on Lyft.
Yeah,
They're taking rides.
yeah,
And they're
but wouldn't
collecting
Uber?
those.
Yeah, but wouldn't Uber see you driving away? I mean, I could see you standing still, but
Right.
see you driving, doing like other things.
Yeah, people are. I've had that complaint too of other drivers doing the same thing, just driving until the ride ends, until somebody cancels it.
I don't understand that. I don't see how you are going to. I guess you're making money because you're not driving, but you're not making that much. I mean, what if
No.
that ride was going to take you for a half hour?
Right.
I mean, you'd make more money on the ride. Aren't you out there to get money? I mean, I just don't understand it, but it's kind of funny. This guy's kind of a bro, but it's kind of a funny article about the cancellation game. But yeah, he really went in depth. Oh, I know what I was going to ask. So you talk about screenshotting the messages. Now that it's an Uber app, is there somewhere in the terms of service that I probably agreed to that I didn't read that they can keep the conversation in the app? Because it's in the app now. It's through Uber's system.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
It
before
is.
when it went out of the system
Yeah.
where you went a text message,
Right.
they can't see what y'all are talking about with your passenger. But now it's in the system. So
It
are they
is.
keeping a
They're
transcript?
probably
Yeah, I
keeping a
wonder.
transcript of it. They
Oh,
probably
I'm-
started doing that because of maybe issues they were running into, like their word against their word, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. I mean, I should rephrase that. They are keeping it,
Right.
but
Yeah.
have they told us that? I'm
No.
just
Right.
wondering.
Probably in some of the verbiage somewhere that we agreed
Well,
to.
Yeah.
exactly. That's saying the terms of service.
Right.
Every couple months, they're like, "Oh, you have to agree to this to drive."
Right.
But I wonder if that guy would have called Uber and said, "Hey, look, we've been messaging in here. Look what this guy's doing." If they're like, "Oh yeah, I see that. Okay, no problem." Like
Yeah.
They
this
probably
guy's-
have a special department that probably looks into that.
Yeah, the one.
But you know what? I use it to my advantage now. When I arrive and you have the phone in the little chat box, I click on it and I hit I've arrived.
yeah,
Yeah.
And as soon as I'm pulling up, I do it. So they can't say,
right,
"Well, I didn't know that they were here. They were froze."
right. Well,
I always let them know that I'm here.
Yeah.
but the problem is how many of them do you actually? Because it gives read receipts.
Yeah.
How many of them actually read it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
At the airport, everybody does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
they do.
me.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Oh, and just a quick comment from our YouTube live stream.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Aaron is watching, and he had a brilliant idea for a service that Uber could offer.
I feel like this is going to be a joke.
Uber Poo.
Uber.
Have
That's
them come clean up your dog's mess.
So that's not a bad idea. There's a guy in Byron Center called Doggy Doo. He has green trucks. He has 2 of them. And I don't know if it's a franchise. That's what he does.
He just cleans up poop.
Yes.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
So, yeah, Aaron, I'm all for that idea.
Now that he has a dog.
Yep.
Ah,
Thanks for chiming in, Aaron.
This next one. This is a safety thing. And we haven't seen any of these features yet, or some of them we have. But Uber is going to check with riders and drivers when something seems off. So maybe they say a car crash. They'll be able to know if the car suddenly stops, and they're gonna check. I guess send an alert to both of them. I don't know.
Sounds
It
like
does.
Big Brother's watching.
Well,
My
Yeah.
tablet, I had it on, and he went to go get the aux cable. So he went to reach, and when he did, it knocked my tablet on the floor.
yeah.
And when I picked it up, I got the safety box that popped up
Oh, so it is live.
and asked me if everything was okay, and I could go back and get out of it. Because I was like, "Oh, what did it do?" Like,
Yeah.
I don't need help.
Okay.
So it
Oh,
does.
so
I
it
think
is.
it notices. Because if you get an accident,
Yeah, your phone's gonna go flying.
Because
Interest-
it freaked me out when I picked it up. I was like, "Oh, I didn't do that."
Yeah.
I want to hurry up and got out of it, but
Okay.
so it does pop up.
Interesting. I'm wondering, like, it also says the anomalies and usually unusual long waits. But I'm wondering if it's going to send an alert to both of them. Because let's say you do have a creeper in the car, right? So it sends an alert to the driver and the creeper. Now the creeper knows that Uber's onto him. You
right.
know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Could we leave it up to the driver and or the passenger
But-
to send a message to Uber
But
that
what good is it going to do to send something to the driver if the driver's driving, or they're doing something and they don't want to draw attention?
Yeah, I mean, I see a
Right.
couple of holes in
Yeah.
the plan. I mean, I appreciate them trying to be more safe for everyone,
Yeah.
but yeah, there was another feature that they were talking about. It's toward the bottom, the hands-free feature. We're supposed to be able to voice like accept ride. That's what it says.
Oh, that's a good
Other
feature.
features Uber introduced Wednesday are aimed to make drivers less reliant on their handsets, including handsets, including voice commands, allow for hands-free pickups and communication with customers.
That's great.
I mean, I'd love that.
Yeah, I would too.
Like with Alexa, it all voice communicated.
Right. I know Maestro is out there to kind of avoid you touching your phone. Have you tried Maestro?
I did.
I did too.
I'm not a fan.
Well,
I'm not a fan.
You're not using it anymore.
No. And you know what? I used it for I think the 2-week. I think it was like a 2-week trial or whatever it was. Not a fan. And then I kept getting emails, and I was like, I'm not interested. Because at one point I had 2 boxes that popped up. I had Lyft and Uber going off.
Yeah.
And it didn't accept either one of them.
Yeah. So now I've lost money.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to flip to get off of screens to shut other ones down. So
Right.
I was like, no, I'm good.
I used it for 2 weeks and it worked great, right? I actually bought it. And then, yeah, I mean, maybe I'm being crazy, but I swear, and when I used it on my tablet, so I have an iPhone, but I have an Android tablet. And it worked good for that 2 weeks. I liked it, but then I was like, you know what? I can do this myself, and it's not working very well, and it's buggy and glitchy, and I'm like,
Yeah, they don't have it for Apple.
no.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because it basically takes over your entire phone, and Apple will not allow
Yeah,
that.
no, they will not.
No.
Yeah, it's really a pain. It's kind of annoying because I wish that it would just, if it pops up, it would just silently maybe decline it.
Yeah.
But it still gives you the option.
Well, because you may say, oh, I guess I'll take it. I mean, it should say somewhere like, I don't want to take these no matter what. Do not show me them.
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
You know, a setting. Like, obviously, it wouldn't
Right.
say that, but
Right.
something
Right.
to that. Or, you know, I might want to take one that even though I didn't want to, like, I'm bored, so I might want to take it. I mean, it's like they're giving the right to the driver, but they're also taking it away. So, like, choose your lane. Like,
Right.
you trying to help us, or are you trying to make us think that maybe we should take this ride?
Right.
I don't know. So, but I'm interested to see these features come soon, because I mean, let's face it, we're not supposed to be on our phones.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
And
a
so-
long time
And
coming.
here, what had happened to me? The notification of like another ride. I wish it would. You were able to decline that.
Like, I have a choice.
Yeah, like, well, not only that, but what am I trying to say? So like you're on a ride and you get another notification from Uber, and it just keeps going and going and going. I wish there was a way we could say, I don't want any more rides right now. I mean, there is, but if you're already in the trip, what I'm saying is if you
Right.
forget to turn that on, like last ride,
Yeah.
that you can just say, oh, it pops up that you can tap, don't want any more rides. I don't know, because
I just hit decline.
yeah, but while you're driving,
It
it keeps
automatically
coming.
gives
They
it
keep
to
coming.
you,
They
yeah.
keep coming. So
Oh.
I got a passenger in the car, and I'm going decline,
Yep.
decline, decline. So now they're annoyed because it's ding ding. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It was just recently when there was a concert that got let out downtown, and I was clearly the only driver in Grand Rapids because I was taking somebody to Thousand Oaks Golf Course up there, and I got pinged and pinged and pinged. I wanted to shut my phone off. I couldn't get it, and maybe I'm stupid, but I tried to turn the volume down. I put it on vibrate. They still came through. So maybe I'm just operator error, but it was
Because
just.
you would have to, if you swipe up, just hit go offline. But then if you
Oh, that's
forget-
true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. I
Yeah.
never thought of it. See,
Yeah, 'cause
I appreciate
if you're
that.
on that,
Yeah.
you just swipe up and hit the red offline, swipe back down, and then you don't have to worry about it again.
You know, I should have pulled over and thought it through, but I was like, felt like, you know, I just want to get these people. Yeah,
If,
what a
well,
dumbass.
if I'm on a ride and I get one and I say decline, and I get another one, I'll hit decline, swipe up, decline, put it down.
Okay.
It's really quick. Well, I know it's really quick on Android.
Well, here's the thing. I felt bad enough messing with my phone, but you're right. I should have pulled over, figured it out because it wasn't stopping. What concert was that? I don't remember what it was. Country. Oh, it was that Thomas Rhett concert.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That country one. And I just felt bad to the people because it was like, bing, ding. I can't believe I didn't think about that. Yeah. Next time I'll just pull over and say, I need to pull over. So this is distracting me and probably you, and I need to fix this.
Yeah.
But okay. Well, good thing we have Gabe here because I'm dumb. Let's see. This one's not a really big deal. Cat Williams. I mean, I'll just skip that one. And then the other one is Uber a verb? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like even though I do Lyft too, I tell the wife, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go Uber tonight. You know,
Right.
It's a verb, and I don't know. It's kind of a interesting article. They talk about it. I really think it is a verb, Ubering, or even people say that they take Lyft. They're like, oh, I'm going to grab an Uber.
Right,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Well, even if it's Lyft, they
Right.
still say Uber. So, couple of things. I wanted you to read this and what your response would be. Tell me what you think.
I see it.
I'm not talking about that. I'm trying to be nonchalant.
You failed that one.
Okay. What would you do?
Take it.
You would?
It's my tip. If
I
you
don't
had
know.
$100 bill
What are you
in your
gonna do?
pocket,
Where would you return it to?
The middle of the back seat, though. It's not like if no one's ever tipped me in the back seat.
really?
No,
No.
I haven't. Either.
Laid money down and
Yeah,
just
No.
in the back seat.
in the back seat.
They've just laid it in the back seat.
No, I usually have people that reach over and say
Yeah.
here, or they drop it.
Yeah.
They'll like here and drop it on the passenger
Yeah.
seat in the front.
Right.
Yeah, I've
Or-
never
or
had
they
it.
hand it to you or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I've never had anyone do that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't. I'd contact them. I mean, I would.
Yeah.
It's too much money.
But what if you didn't know where it came from?
That's true. If
You
it,
don't know which rider
if
it was.
well,
Well, I think even if you didn't know, I think if you held on to it, because if somebody drops money, they're gonna be like, "Hey, look, I lost something in a car."
Yeah.
I wouldn't go out and spend it. And yeah, if you don't know what ride it is, then too bad, so sad. I'm going to take it. But if I knew that when I looked back, like we're supposed to do, I would contact them. I would. I don't think it's too much money.
People have left a lot of things in my car.
Yeah,
Phones, garage door openers,
I have. I've been collecting them. I was going to take a picture of like everything I've collected over a while, and I have a flip flop, like a half a pack of cigarettes. I get a lot of Powerades. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
they're like drinking that
I get
before they
that
go
too.
home.
Right.
I don't know. That's about the craziest. Is
Yeah.
one flip flop. Obviously, it fell out of
I
the
don't
bag.
think anybody reaches what Ben had in his car after that bachelorette party.
Yeah, that was something.
Does Cindy know it? Did you see that?
No.
It's okay.
We'll let Ben explain it.
So it was a party favor from a bachelorette party. You can only imagine what shape it was in.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was very phallic in shape and
pink.
very pink, and it was a straw.
Which I didn't know that, which
Yeah.
is so weird.
It's just a thing.
It was huge. Like it did look like a straw. Like just sitting there.
It was very, yeah. So
it was huge.
the funny part is I had that ride early in the night. Like I remember it clearly because I
So
picked
it was
them
back
up.
there.
It was a bachelorette party. So
People were
that
just kicking
pink,
it around with their feet.
yeah,
Yeah.
So that pink penis was in the back of my car.
Can you imagine every time somebody opened the door, what
They
greeted
saw
them?
it, and nobody said a word.
Well, they probably didn't know it was a
Right.
straw like me and thought it was an actual something. They're like, I'm not touching this thing. Like you typically someone would be like, oh, that someone must have left this in here and
Yeah.
they handed it to
But
me.
they're probably like,
Ugh.
Nobody said anything. There was no
that's kind
fits
of, an
of
awkward
laughter.
thing to bring
We,
up.
we told Ben he should do a return, or not a return
lost
fee,
item.
lost item, report a lost item, like
Exactly.
see if they would pick it up.
Yeah, that was something. And I don't always check my car.
Well, not third row.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look back to the second row, but in an XL, like we both
Yeah.
have, I mean, you'd have to get out. I mean, I know, okay, I'm being lazy, but I'm not going to get out and look at the
So
back.
it was a Saturday night, and the family was going to go to church the next morning. So I just kind of had this inclination. I should probably just check.
Just in case.
I am so glad I checked because if my kids found that the next day on the way to church,
That wouldn't.
Your
no.
daughter.
Oh.
Your daughter.
Dad, what's this?
Your son would be like, but
Yeah.
your daughter would be
It'd be
like,
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
goodness.
something.
But anyways, I'm so, yeah, I don't know. If I knew who it was, I would report it. But if I didn't, I'd be like,
Yeah.
Dude, people are digging in their pockets looking
I
for
know.
keys.
And it's $100 is a lot. I got tipped the other night. You guys saw $100, and I've never got tipped that much. And I swear that guy thought it was a 10. I'm like, why is he giving me this much money? I mean, it was a very unexpected thing. It was very not awkward, but I'm like, are you paying me for something else? Like this is
Yeah.
weird.
Why you
but,
give me $100?
I mean, that's a
Yeah,
lot of
that
money.
is.
I mean, anyways.
Because I've had people that have dropped money with their card. Like I've gotten
Oh,
a
yeah.
phone call and they're like, "Hey, I think I dropped my card in your car." Well, in my Jeep, the seats, depending on how they're sitting, it slides right to the back, so I have to go in the hatch and open up the thing.
Okay.
And I'll find like change, and I'll find like receipts, wrappers, gum, like. And I'm just like, all right. And I was like, yeah, I found your card with some cash. And she was like, oh, thank you. Can you bring it to me? Because it was all together. And she was like, you can keep, it was like $9. She said, you can keep the cash. So.
Yeah. Somebody recently left their credit card in my car.
Yeah.
I had a phone I think it was the country concert, the Thomas, am I saying that right? Thomas
Rhett.
Yeah. And I knew who it was, the group I picked up, just they were a disaster. A bunch of girls. Like I'm like, you guys aren't even gonna get into the bar. Like whoa, and it kept ringing and ringing and ringing, and it was so annoying. I had passengers. I'm like, I let them know. I'm like, I know where you are. You're at the tavern. She had everyone and their brother calling it. Even after I told her it was so annoying. I wanted to throw it out the window.
I
was
know.
like,
I
I
know.
should have just powered it down, but I still wanted to communicate with her. What if they moved? You know what I mean?
Right.
funny.
I was on a website where they had there's a case
Okay.
for people that like you can put the phone in and it blocks the signal,
Yeah, and
so you don't have people showing up at your house at 3, 4 in the
yeah.
morning.
Well, there's a lot of comedians are doing that now. They're asking you when you come in, you put your phone in these little plastic things, and so that you can't videotape any. And if you want to use your phone, you have to like leave the event, go outside. They give you I don't know how it is, but I know they're doing it. I don't know the actual logistics of it, but because it's like that's weird. You're taking away my phone, or like, well, that's what if you want to be in this
They
concert.
had one of those at 20 Monroe.
Did they?
Yeah, there's no phones allowed.
There isn't.
No, the guy that was, I can't remember.
The performer.
The performer.
Yeah, it's
he had a
performer
rule.
based.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of
it
comedians
is.
are doing that. So, have you seen it?
That
Is it-
night
it's
they
a
said it
plastic
was
bag?
really weird. It said it was just a bag. They put their phone in.
And they held onto the bag.
Yeah.
And they just weren't allowed to open it.
Nope.
And if they did, they got kicked out.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. I'm like, I want my phone. Like I try not to take pictures and videos while I'm at that stuff because I want to enjoy it in the moment. Because everyone, like, no one's gonna watch it. No one cares. Like one picture is fine, but I don't know if I'd want someone to restrict me from using my phone. Like, what about babysitters? What if
Right.
your kid's at home?
Right.
Yeah.
I went to a concert. They didn't want us taking pictures. They put something over your camera.
Oh, really?
They wanted you to experience the whole concert
Which I agree. I think
and not take pictures.
I think too many people are behind their screens and like think of this one. This will be silly when you hear this. Like all these people that are recording fireworks. Who cares? I've seen so many fireworks. I can go to YouTube. Why are you sharing me or showing me a video of freaking fireworks?
I take pictures of fireworks.
I mean, 1 or 2 pictures are cool. Like if you're just like kind of wrapping up your weekend of what you've done, that's fine. But I don't want to see a 4-minute video of the finale. Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of the same thing. Like, okay, you like this band, but this, people on Facebook might not like it, and they're not going to watch your 4-minute video of this song.
You know what, though? I use it to my advantage, though, when I'm driving. If I know people that are going to concerts, I'm like, all right, they're still at the concert. I don't have to leave my house yet to go downtown. And I'm like, oh, they're just live. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, time. Let me get my shoes on and start heading out now.
Right.
Some good time
Yeah.
stamps.
Yeah.
I can see that. So
Uh-huh.
I don't know. But next up, you can rent by the hour for Uber. Not around here, but they're offering it by the hour.
Have you ever had a
I
rider?
just show you
It's
something
renting.
real quick?
It's just $5 an hour. Oh my gosh! Look at.
So all my pictures of fireworks.
See, he's the problem. He's the problem.
But have you ever had an airport pickup where you pick somebody up and they're like, yeah, I got some errands I need to do. Like, are you going to be around the area, or can I just like pay you to drive me around for a couple hours?
No. I no.
No?
Have you?
Yeah. I've had people, and I'm like, that's because I'm not one to bring up, we've talked about it before with like long trips, like asking for a return fee and all of that. I just believe that karma will take care of me in the end.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say, well, what are you talking about? Like, you're going to pay me $10 an hour? No, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I just don't want to have that awkward conversation.
I would. I mean, if someone said, I'm like, what you should do is you should think about it before it happens again. Think about it hard and think about what you want your rate to be. And just think about it a lot. And then when someone asks you, say, yep, it's going to be $30 an hour. And then won't be awkward, right? And they'll be like, that's too much. Be like, all right, cool. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would do. I don't know.
'Cause I've had a lady tell me on Lyft she's done it before with the driver.
Well,
They just kept the Lyft app open, and he drove her from spot to spot.
Wow.
And she would change it, and she said she kept him busy for 3 hours.
Wow.
really? Just running errands?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've
don't-
had people ask me if I'm going to be out later, can I come back and get them? Because there's no other drivers around.
Yeah, on the
That-
lakeshore.
That I
Yes.
think is like the casino. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can get a lift, but I've had people ask me to wait for the casino, and I'm like,
I did have it last winter. That guy, I picked him up from Z's, took him to Yesterdog. They changed their mind, wanted to go to Coney. Didn't want to take their coats into Coney and said, just keep the app open, let it run. I'm going to tip you. We just want to go in for 30 minutes and eat. Came out, and then I took him home, and then took the rest of them to Walker. Went from Byron Center to Walker.
okay,
man.
And he gave me $80, and then I think I made like $60 off the ride.
really?
Yeah,
But see, the problem is, well, it was probably surgeon then.
yeah,
Because the thing is, waiting on the app doesn't.
yeah.
It doesn't turn the. I mean, it's
No.
10 cents a minute or whatever
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Like
No.
I'm like, I'll wait, but I'm gonna need some extra cash.
Yeah.
Just
Well, if he wouldn't have said just keep it open, I would have been like, no, you guys can order another one. But he's like, I will tip you, really good. But you get into that. I'm gonna tip you on the app really good.
Yeah.
You look and you get $1.
Right.
right.
Some people get a
Right.
penny or.
I'll catch you later on the app.
Yeah. What would be really cool is if they could tip live during the ride, and you could
Yeah.
see it
I
come
thought-
through.
Because I thought they can, you just can't see it.
Oh,
Because
maybe
I
that-
thought with the last update, they can give you your rating
Oh, they can.
and
Somebody
leave
told me they did
feedback
that.
and tip while they're on the
Mhm.
ride.
Oh, well,
Oh yeah.
But you can't see it.
well, that's
Yeah.
dumb.
Right. So
They-
you wouldn't know.
I think you should be able to see it. How
Yeah.
great would it be? You're driving around, and all of a sudden you get like a $5 tip pop up. You're like, oh, dude. Then you can thank them, right?
Right.
Right.
Because you don't have. I mean, the only time you can thank people is when you get cash.
Yeah.
If they tip you amazing on the app, you're like,
Like,
great.
look next time, because I had a guy last night do that. When he got out, I didn't have another ride, so I looked, and it was already there.
Interesting.
And he didn't pull out his phone at all. He had it in his pocket then and walk into his house. So they can tip and they can comment, leave feedback, and rate you while they're on the ride.
Interesting.
Yeah. One of my riders told me that they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, if you want to rent a car, it's just $5 an hour after your first time. Your first day is free. So $5 an hour. So
To have somebody drive you around.
no.
Oh.
Sorry. This is if you want to rent a car to drive for Uber. It's $5 an hour, like per hour.
What?
So I wonder if that might be a good fit for a full-time driver in this area if their car breaks down. Like
Yeah.
your
Sure.
car. If your car gets totaled,
What are you gonna do?
what are you gonna do? Like Justin had that little fender bender. His car's still out.
Yeah.
He went and bought a $500 junker.
Yeah, I don't know why he did
Well, they
that.
do have a rental program in San Francisco.
Right, but I'm wondering if that would be something you would do, right? If you knew that you could get it for $5
Oh,
an
yeah.
hour, you'd be like,
Yeah,
oh
because
my.
if you look at, like, what is it, Hire Car is an app
Uh-huh.
where
Never
people
heard of
rent,
Yep.
they rent out
Yep.
their cars, and they do rideshare insurance. Everything is
Wow.
included. They give you a fee. It's like $30 a day or $34.
Oh,
And you have insurance and everything. You can upload it to the app.
and Uber lets that
Yeah.
fly,
Uh-huh.
but it's not your name on the insurance.
Nope. Yeah, it is. They get like a temporary
Oh,
policy.
like just for like that day or something.
yeah.
Interesting.
Or if you're doing it for a week.
Oh, you'll have to send me that link.
Yeah.
I'd like to
It's
look
an
into-
app.
or an
It's-
app or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I looked into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not that I'm going to do. I just want to know about it.
My tire blew, and I didn't have a car for a week. I had a rental. I
Okay.
looked at that. So,
Huh? Interesting.
and you can choose, like people all over. You just have to get to the car, meet
What
up with
kind of
them.
car or what?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Hmm. That's interesting. It's called Hire app.
Hire car.
Hire car. Okay. Next thing up is the update to the long trip notifications at the airport. Now this is JFK. They took them away because people were waiting. They weren't taking anything except if it said 45-minute
Right.
plus. And so, I mean, I can see why they do that. And I firmly believe there's a couple of drivers on that Facebook group that I think do that because I see what they make. And some of their nights are huge.
They just wait for the long runs.
They wait for the long runs. So maybe when we're at the airport and we're like, there's 3 other people in the queue. Like, why am I getting this ride? Because they turned it down. They're waiting for the 45-minute plus. I don't know. This seems.
I don't get it.
I don't get that either.
Well, what happened to me at the airport is I was like number 1 and they put me down to number 10
Okay.
because if you reject 3 rides in a
Yeah,
row,
you get
3
you get
rides, you
booted.
go out.
well, and I think that's kind of BS, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Lyft doesn't have that. You can reject as many as you want. You don't get kicked off.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you get kicked off, but as long as you hit the X.
But
if you
my problem was I was up next.
but the problem
My Uber associate
Right.
that I knew got the ride that I should have gotten. I went down to 10.
right, but the thing is though, if you waited, they're all going to go down to 10 too. It's going to cycle. It usually works itself out, right? Because the rides that you rejected, they're going to reject too. So wherever they're at, they're going to bump down. So I've had that happen before, and then within 5 to 10 minutes, I'm back to like 1 or 2, just because they're getting booted too. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I know what
Now,
you mean.
yeah, if your friend got the ride, then
I'm
obviously,
just like, well, basically, you just got my ride.
right? And it does happen. It does happen. But I hope they don't ever do that here. I get so excited when I get it because I've been really digging like 45-minute trips.
Yeah, they're not bad.
No, they're not.
no,
I mean,
those are
I'm like,
good ones.
oh, that'll be nice.
Yeah, because I've had a couple, but I didn't get the notification to like West Olive
Well, that is.
and then Grand
I don't think
Haven.
that's
They were,
45
like,
minutes,
at
is it?
44
no.
or
Like
45,
right below.
like right below. You know, and they tip very well
They do.
because they want to get home.
They
Right.
do,
And
though,
it's-
whatever it takes. To
And
get
it's
them
kind
home.
of like, why pass those up?
Huh. Yeah.
I guess if you don't, if you do this part time and you can be selective, then be selective.
True.
But if you do it full time, you kind of like
You're really rolling the dice that you're
Right.
going to get a couple long trips because you
Right.
might
Yeah.
not get any.
right.
Yeah.
Because you're still, not only are you competing with yourself, but I mean you're competing with all these other drivers that want those long trips too. Like
Right.
I don't know, I wouldn't do it. I just say, hey, if I get an airport trip, great. Because usually it's a good trip, good conversation. You know what I mean? Typically tip.
And they're
Maybe
thankful
more.
to be home,
Yeah.
or just thankful to be where they need to be.
Yeah, I always ask them, "How was your flight?"
Yep.
And then I kind of feel how their mood is because they'll be like, "Oh, what a disaster!" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I need to take a different route on this ride." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, "No, it was a great flight." I'm like, "Oh man, isn't that great when that happens?" You know, just kind of. But you guys all know that. All right, we always do a tip, and this is I've noticed. I've followed the Uber Eats Facebook group, one of the delivery groups or whatever, and they have a trick, and they swear you get more tips on it. So you have a stock message that you send out before you hit delivered to say, "Oh, thanks for ordering for Uber Eats, or we really appreciate it, or nice to meet you," or whatever, just some blah blah BS, and you send that and then hit delivered, and they said that their tips increased because they were connecting with that customer before because once you hit delivered, that's it, you know.
It's done for, yeah.
But I don't know. I actually might try it on regular rides. Before you hit finish, send that stock message and then finish the trip. It's worth a try.
Yeah,
I mean,
why not?
some people might not care, but if they see that, I mean, you can't make it too stocky text. Like they're like, "Oh, okay, whatever." You know what I mean? Or you can't make it too long because then they'll know that it was a stock text. But just something to connect with the customer. Like, hey, it was really great
Talking to you
talking
or
to you.
whatever.
Because that one you could do stock. You could, I mean, because you talk to everyone.
Yeah, or we had a nice conversation
yeah.
or anything. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna give it a try. At least on the iPhone, you can.
Maybe
Create-
that's something I do on my rides though.
I do
Maybe
too.
that's why my rate, like, because I'll even say, like, if I'm giving somebody a ride to the airport and they're talking about their trip or
Yeah.
when I'm getting their bags, I'm like, you know what, have fun at your sister's wedding. I hope you enjoy
Yeah.
your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to do. I mean,
I
I
try
guess,
to do that too. I communicate well with
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
and maybe with the Uber Eats it's such a quick interaction.
Yeah.
So maybe it helps more with that because it's like you hand the food and you're gone. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no money exchange. I mean, you're talking like 30 seconds, if that. So I don't know. Be worth a try. They said that their tips went up. So
Cool.
for all your Uber Eats deliveries out there.
Gabe, there's a battle going on in the chat. Not really a battle, but a discussion about who's the highest rated driver.
It's got to
There's
be
one
Gabe.
person claiming that he is, and he's got a 4.9. Can you set him straight?
4.9.
Yeah.
I
What's
got a
your rating?
4.95.
Ooh. Sorry, Dennis.
Yeah.
Gabe's got you beat.
I think I'm at like. I'd have to look. I think it's like 6.
Well, no, it's the rating. The highest rating is between you and Cece.
I think I'm higher than CC now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we were
She's
just talking
watching. She's
about
gonna be
that the
pissed.
other day. I think I am now. I know when she put that, I was like,
I don't even for sure know what I am. I haven't looked at it in a while.
Okay. We usually do 3 questions from our or not just our Facebook group, but this picture. What are the red and green dots? And I don't know. I don't know what they are. I know you commented on this
somebody
post.
said it's Uber Eats.
I don't. What do you mean? Like,
I think from where they picked up, where they dropped off. But I don't know. I was confused on what.
yeah, I've never seen that. I did Uber Eats for those 2 weekends. I never saw any of that either. So I don't know. Have you seen that, Cindy, on your app at all?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. It
Okay.
doesn't look familiar.
It doesn't look familiar either.
6,886 rides, 4.95.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I have another question from the live chat. You don't have to answer because it's one of those questions. But somebody is curious, and you can ballpark this. How much does a full-time Lyft or Uber driver make?
You can do a range. Do a $5,000 swing.
I would say it depends on the events going on in
Right.
the city.
Yeah.
And
Well, they're talking about yearly because you've done it. Have you done it for a year full time?
oh yeah,
Okay, so you know what you made.
Yeah. It does. It honestly I probably when I do it full time, I drive anywhere from 35 to 45 hours a week,
Yeah.
depending on the events, and I probably put in 2 hours a week checking events, concerts, when there's stuff at Amway, different things.
Yeah.
And it ranges, I'd say anywhere from $20 to $30 an hour
Okay.
for the time
I mean, I'll tell you what I made last year. I made $18K, and that was just part time.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't include my expenses for gas. I mean, I probably spent $4,000 in gas.
Yeah, easily.
But no taxes out of that.
Yeah.
So
like I can go. What was it when we had that? What was that one down on Belknap?
Oh, yeah.
breakaway.
Breakaway. I did 49 hours
Oh,
that week.
goodness.
Wow.
And
That's
I
madness.
did almost 1,500.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's for an X.
Yeah.
So
And that was minus my gas.
oh
Really?
That was minus my gas.
That
well, yeah.
That's
what do you
pretty
get?
good.
90 miles to the gallon on that thing, probably. I mean,
Am I
silly.
renegade?
I'm being silly, but it probably
Yeah.
gets decent.
30 miles for on the highway for a SUV.
That's good.
It's like one of the better subcompact
Holy
SUVs.
crap.
Yeah.
That's
Man.
amazing.
So do you run an XL also?
Nope.
No.
Just
Nope.
an-
I just an Uber X.
Oh, okay.
And that's why people are like, well, how do you? It's not a matter of if you want to work 9 to 5 traditional hours or.
I get
Yeah.
You can't. You just can't. You have to be flexible with your schedule, and you have to be able to adapt.
Right.
And a lot of it is connection with people.
Right.
I make pretty good money doing tips, but and you can see it in my rating. Like I'm super friendly, and I treat them exactly how I would want my daughter or my mother or
Yeah.
somebody that's a female in my family to be treated.
Sure.
You
That's
know, I'm
great.
respectful. I talk to them, but I can also read people. You know, I worked for the airline industry for a long time,
Yeah.
and I can tell, hey, they've had a rough day.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not going to talk to them.
Right.
You know,
Leave
or-
them alone. And,
Yeah. Or I'll be like, hey, you know what? I hope your day gets better when
Yeah.
they get out of the car, and they're like, thank you.
Yeah. You're clearly doing something right.
Yeah.
Or just, I had a lady thank me. She gave me more in a tip than her ride cost because I said, you know, I was taking her to Meyer. And I
Yeah.
said, how do you like working there? She was like, I've only been there 3 weeks. I said, hey, you know what? You like it though? She's like, yep. I said, that's the right attitude, you know?
Yeah.
And I said, you have a great day. And she goes, thank you for being kind. You know, when she got out of the car, she's like,
Yeah.
thank you for talking to me.
Aw.
You know, you got to remember some of these people that take and use the service, we might be the only personal interaction they have besides
true.
work
Right.
throughout the
Right.
day.
Yeah, especially if
Right.
they kind of work by themselves or work in an apartment
Right.
where they don't talk to anybody.
Right.
I mean, and you never know. Like somebody could be having the worst news ever and they have to go to work.
Ugh.
And it just takes you to be kind one time to them for them to be like, hey.
That's
know,
so cool. That's so true.
That's
And
a good
I-
way to look at it.
And I put
Yeah.
that challenge out on Facebook to my friends. I said, hey, why don't you guys try? And I had a girl message me like 2-3 weeks later. She was like, I took your advice, Gabe. Like, I complimented this girl. And, like, she got this huge smile on her face.
Yeah.
You know, you never know how you're going to affect somebody's day. And I think it's...
And that goes both ways. If
Right.
you're kind of a jerk or kind of have a
Right.
bad attitude.
Yeah.
And if they enjoy your, you know, the ride that you gave them, they're going to say, hey, I'm going to the airport, you know, on this day at this time. Are you going to be around? I'm like, we can make it happen. I'll
Yeah.
be in the area.
Right.
So
On the lakeshore, I've built up quite a bit of clientele, actually,
yeah,
for people wanting to use me specifically.
Well, I think you
for
have
the
such an advantage out there because the lack of drivers.
Right,
I mean, you
right.
could build up a pretty big clientele.
Yeah.
For doing that. Obviously, do it on the app, but
Well, right, we do. And obviously, my husband and I kind of created our own little company
yeah.
through Uber, and we advertise
Okay.
to let people know, yes, we can take them to the airport through the Uber and Lyft app.
Oh, okay.
Or
All right.
whatnot. Yeah.
So, one of the other questions: does anyone know anything? Speaking of that, about the Apex Driver app, have you guys?
somebody told me finally what it was. I think it was it you?
It could be.
I was
I
like,
saw
what
it was
is
in the Facebook group name, and I was like,
Well, he changed.
Apex?
Well, he changed that. Harold Franz changed the name to that one of the groups, the
Yeah.
Grand Rapids Apex.
like a reservation,
Yeah, it's like Userve,
right?
which I did use for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I did a couple.
I did too.
I did a couple on
I
there.
have money on there, but it's not high enough to cash.
I think I do too, and they're not doing it anymore.
No, they're not. They discontinued
So what
it.
happens?
They
It just
actually,
sits in there?
I guess, they sold that. They sold that software to
For delivery or something.
something, or for medical.
Hope Network.
No, that's Steady Fare.
Oh yeah.
No, this is the user was out of North Carolina, so so anyways. So I think this Apex is a spin-off of that. It's kind of the same reservation, but no iPhone yet. I actually messaged him. I was like, "What are you laughing at?" Oh, the chat.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were laughing at the iPhone
Yeah,
thing
me
that
too.
I
I
always.
thought that too.
Well, these guys are Android. So
No, I'm just laughing at Dennis.
Oh.
Dennis, you're great.
So I will use it. I think it's a good idea. Although a user was pretty expensive, like for the customer, it was like $5 plus.
I got an email telling me that it was available for me to download it.
The Apex.
Yeah, because I had gone
I would do
on,
it.
but I was like, well, before I sign up, what am I signing up?
Yeah,
Right.
be our test guinea pig. Like
Yeah.
download it, see what it works. The problem is it's only as good as its marketing, right? So if you can't market it, people aren't going to know about it.
Right.
Right.
Like Cargo, all of a sudden they paired with Uber, and all of a sudden they're getting $20 million investments, and so now they're taking off like a mother because they paired with Uber.
But
But
it's not here yet.
it's not here yet. I know.
Nope.
Oh man, don't get me started with that. But it's the same thing we struggle with our podcast, and then Ben and I have a podcast together too. Is the marketing, and if you can't market this Apex, I mean, he's doing the right thing. He's in groups. He's probably sharing it. Speaking of that, I am the admin of the West Michigan Uber Lyft. So there's a Grand Rapids one, and the logo that we have up there is like the pink Lyft and whatever. I don't know if you're in that group or not, but I barely am in there. No one's active in there really, and
Which group is it?
it's like West Michigan. I
think-
don't know. I don't remember what it
I
is.
think it might belong to it.
Didn't you start the group?
No, I didn't. I actually didn't start the group.
Oh, okay.
It was Kate. Do you remember Katie Ray?
Oh yeah.
She did. This is it. Uber and Lyft West Michigan partners right there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I
So-
belong to that one.
Okay. So
Yeah.
basically all it is us posting our podcast in there because no one ever
Okay,
commented
yeah,
it.
I think I'm
Yeah.
on that one.
So I figure people view stuff in there though. So I'm like, yeah, you may not communicate, but at least you see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I accepted a guy in there just recently. I was like, oh, I got to get rid of these notifications. So I went down there and I saw if they're in the Grand Rapids group, I just let him in. I don't ask for a screenshot. So apparently he's starting a ride, or he's starting some sort of business that, damn it, Ben, you're having fun over there.
Sorry.
He's starting some sort of business that we can make money as a rideshare driver, but it's not going to cost us anything up front. So it sounds similar to Cargo, but they're starting out in the Chicago suburbs and then the Midwest. But he posted a video today, and I watched it. I'm like, it didn't tell me what it is. Like, what are we talking about here? So
Right.
I might kick him out of the group because
I think that's the same thing with Apex. For so long, I saw they kept advertising, but I couldn't figure out what it was.
let's see
And
if
then
we
I stopped paying attention to it.
Yeah.
I've seen it before.
10 people want to
advertised
join this
like
group. There's that.
Hey.
There's our.
It is all of
So it's
GR
this,
Rideshare.
this Jesse Garcia. Where's it? Where did his video go? It is all GR Rideshare crap. I thought, did he take it down?
Who? I don't know.
No. Well, anyways,
In other news, we've had a request for a guest to join us. We'll just leave it at his initials are the same as a city in Grand Rapids or a city in Michigan? Up north.
No, that's not happening. That's not happening. Who suggested that?
Dennis.
Who's Dennis?
Dennis.
Dennis?
Toyota Dennis.
Oh, Toyota Dennis. Okay. All right.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
All right. The last
Dennis, you should be a guest on our podcast.
The last question that I found, and it's not a rocket science, is how many make your passengers buckle up?
My car makes everyone that rides in the front buckle up.
Mine does
Yep.
too, in the front. But what about the back?
No,
Now
I don't
that
care.
it's not against the law, if you're 16 or older,
Right.
you don't have to wear a seatbelt in the back.
I did have one. The husband sat up front, the wife sat in back, and it kept beeping, and he just kept ignoring it. And I was like, if you're going to sit up here, you have to put your seatbelt on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she thought that I was saying that she had to buckle up too.
Oh.
And so when they got out, she's like, I really like that you tell your riders to buckle up.
Or-
And I was just like,
Or maybe she gets after her husband because
Yeah.
he doesn't wear it. Although, why would you want to listen to that ding? It's so
I
annoying.
know.
Yeah.
I give people two. I ignore it twice. Most people are like, "Oh, sorry, I'll put my belt on."
Yeah.
Like, but if people let it go twice, I'm like, "Hey, dude, you got to put your seatbelt on."
Yeah, that's so annoying.
I don't know why you wouldn't want to put a seatbelt on when you're in an Uber. Like
Yeah.
when I ride Uber, I put a seatbelt on no matter where I'm at. I don't know this driver.
Right,
Like-
exactly.
Some of the drivers, he could have been. You only have to be 21, right? So you've been driving for, let's say he started at 16. You've been driving for 5 years. You're 21 years old, and I'm in your downtown, let's say Detroit or Chicago, and I'm really going to not put a seatbelt on and let you drive me around?
I don't know. Cause
We
you know
did.
what? I've
When we were in
seen
Chicago, we did.
I've seen
Yeah, but you put your
60-year-olds
seatbelt on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we did.
What's
I've
that?
seen 60-year-olds drive that shouldn't be driving.
Well,
so,
I know. There's obviously exceptions,
Yeah.
but
Right.
yeah, if you ever think about how many miles you've actually driven, it's crazy because I drive for my other job too. So, like, I've probably driven well over 1 million miles. in
Since
my life.
March, I've driven 52,000 miles.
Since March?
Yeah,
Oh, boy. Wow.
That's 8 months.
yeah. That's personal and
Oh, okay. Yeah, but you probably don't do a lot of personal driving.
use
Well, you
mine.
drove
I
to
do.
Canada.
yeah. Drove to Canada and around and
Yeah.
my daughter's appointment. So
I've driven 9,000 miles since July, but personal and business, but
Yeah, I don't know.
mostly business. You know.
I've been putting a lot of miles on my car.
yeah.
How about you, Ben? How's your transmission fluid?
It's great now.
Is it pink now?
Oh, my gosh. So, I'm not very good with cars. Clearly.
I'm not either, but I still track my maintenance.
Yeah, I'm going to now.
There's that app. What is it? Drivo?
I use it. It started with Gas Cubby, and then a company called Fuely bought them,
Okay.
and it's kind of the same principle. But I've had it. I mean, for years. I've had it, and it's great. It gives me my gas mileage, which I kind of like when I see, oh, I did really good this last fill up. You know what I mean? But it tells me when to rotate my tires. I mean, it seems stupid, but when you're driving for work, I
I
mean,
always think of it.
and the number one killer on tires is not doing the rotation. It seems simple, but people don't realize, oh, I can let it go 3,000 or 4,000 miles, and then you let it go another 4,000 or 5,000. I mean, your tires are smoked. Like, you can't. I mean, they're not going to last as
And
long.
not driving with enough air,
I know. Yeah, that can do it
especially in
too.
the cold.
And deflate your
yeah.
tires.
It sucks on your gas mileage. So
Yeah, having proper inflation is huge. Like, yeah, Ben's transmission fluid was like black. He's like,
Oh,
I'm
no.
having trouble with my
Oh,
How many
no.
miles did it have on it? Like 75,000?
The Traverse,
Yeah, or 100.
it's at 100K now.
Yeah, but he don't ever remember changing it.
Well, I've only had it for a year.
yeah, cause
Oh,
I
that's it. Okay.
think because you were talking about how it shifts funny or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, and he's like, and then he this is, I gotta tease you on this one. He's like, I got this oil change, and now everything's great. It's running great now.
That's what Nick even said.
But then it only lasted for like a day.
It's true.
And then he's like, oh, it's back shifting bad.
And then once he got that transmission changed, he was like,
It's like
"Man,
a-
it drives smooth like a new car."
yeah, it's like a new car. Is it still driving like that?
Yeah. I mean, it has a couple hiccups, but
Right.
I think that's,
That could be like plugs, wires.
yeah.
Well, I'm saying if you buy a used car, check the transmission fluid before you buy. Everyone thinks, oh, I'm going to check the oil, whatever, looking it over. If the transmission fluid is black, that person did not take care of that car. You may want to move on.
Yeah.
It might look great on the outside. It might have all the bells and whistles, but if it's got black transmission fluid, that's a problem. So,
Yeah.
anything else to add? I think we're about done.
Just checking the comment stream. Gabe, you're a teddy bear.
He is a teddy bear.
Who called me a teddy bear?
Take a guess.
Dennis.
Nope.
Cece.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
She always calls me a teddy bear. Yeah.
Dennis got a new car, so we can't be looking for the Toyota.
No, he got a.
Kia Sedona.
Oh, it's a Kia. Okay.
And Dennis, you're hilarious. He says, "Who is that lady?" If you were here in the beginning, Dennis, you would know that this is the one and only Cindy Shute, who's even wearing a GR Rideshare podcast.
I know. It's funny. I sent you that. I've held it.
Thank you.
I had
Appreciate it.
I had it forever, and then I was like, "Oh, let's see if Cindy goes to the podcast." You're like, "Yeah, I'll come." I'm like, "Damn it! Why did I send that out? I could have saved $4 on shipping."
Yeah.
But funny thing about Dennis, the last time I saw him, he was the first to an accident near the airport. It was a nasty crash, and he didn't see me, and we all just kind of rolled up like. But yeah, I remember he was one of the first people there trying to help people out. So, yeah. So thanks guys for watching, listening. Did you see the spike? How much did we get up to?
We had 14.
14, not our best, but
Not bad either.
no, that's not bad. So
We had just under 2,000 people reached.
Nice.
cool. All right, guys, have a good night. Ben, you can kill the stream.
Well, you want me to? Okay.
Yeah. What do you want me to do?
I don't know.
Dennis threw him for a loop.
Goodbye.